And with that, we're now 31-35, 9.5 games back. The Braves. We're 2-8 in our last 10, and we've played more away games than home games. We're 15-12 at home. We're 16-23 away. So we played 39 away games to 27 home games. And I can't imagine there are a lot of other teams that have that kind of ratio going on, that kind of schedule. And I don't know how they're handling it, but we are not handling it well. We're now 3 games back in the wild card race, which is not that bad. That seems like that's something we can make up. I think you have to, as fans, we have to put winning the East out of our heads. I don't know if anyone's still holding on to that. I think right now it's let's just keep pace with the wild card. Let's not look at how many games back we are from first or from the Braves or whoever. Let's just make sure that we are keeping pace with the wild card. And it seems it's within reach. 2/3 of the Mets' victories have come by 3 runs or less. And 14 of the Mets' last 16 wins have come within that smaller margin. So when we're winning very close. We're not having what Pittsburgh put on us on Friday night. No blowout wins in our recent history. And I know we've said this a bunch of times before, but if you look at the records from the 3 NL East teams that have gone to the World Series, the Phillies, the 2022 Phillies, the 2021 Braves, and the 2019 Nationals, all 3 of those teams had losing records as on June 9th of their respective seasons. The 22 Phillies, last year's Phillies, were 28-29. The 21 Braves were 29-30. The 2019 Nationals were 30-35. Who knows what the state of those teams were at those times, but you can probably say for sure that they weren't clicking, just like we're not clicking right now. But there's so much fucking season left. That's the bright spot, and I know it probably will get uglier. Like we thought, like, okay, this is rock bottom. No, this is rock bottom. It's as someone who's had multiple rock bottoms in my own life, don't rule out another rock bottom. It could happen again. But I think one of the bright spots for this team that has to give some solace to the fan base is Francisco Alvarez. I mean, the statistics that this dude is putting up are unreal, and it feels like he's legitimate. Like it's not like he got hot for a week or two and now we figured him out and we have the book on him and he's struggling. He's continued to produce on an extensive basis, and I feel like that's got to give you some hope and some good vibes, good feelings, because how long has catcher been an issue for us? How long has catcher been a problem for us? We just have not found the solution. And now we have 2 guys that I feel really good about, Alvarez I feel really good about, and Narvaez is like, okay, obviously better than Nito, obviously better than McCann, probably better than any catcher I can remember in recent history. Could be missing someone there, but it feels like Narvaez is the step above what our standard has been, and then Alvarez is just superstar in the making. Really hope he makes the All-Star. I know many people don't care about the All-Star game, but to be an All-Star in your rookie season would be so huge. Among 211 hitters with a minimum of 100 plate appearances since May 1st, El Troll owns the 10th highest WRC plus with this 168 mark. Now, do I know what WRC plus is? No, dude. Weighted runs created plus measures a player's runs created taking into account different league factors. Weighted runs above average, plate appearances, and weighted runs created. The league average WRC plus is 100, and a player who notches a WRC plus of 150 would be 50% above league average. And right now he's at the 168, which is pretty good. He has the highest ISO. This is another fucking stat that I had to look up because baseball has the most ridiculous stats. Highest ISO, isolated power since May 1st with a minimum of 100 at bats. It's JD Martinez at 419 and then Francisco Alvarez at 390. In the last 4 games, He's been 5 for 18, 316 OBP, 1.260 OPS, 4 homers, 6 ribbies, 5 runs. Hitters under the age of 22 to hit 11 or more home runs in any 25-game span. Melott, Jimmy Fox, Eddie Matthews, Frank Robinson, Bob Horner, Adam Dunn, Cody Bellinger, Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis Jr., and then El Troll, Francisco Alvarez. So that's pretty good company to be mentioning. And then the most home runs by a Met under the age of 22 in franchise history, Ed Kranepool with 38. By the way, Ed Kranepool, holy fuck, dude. Darryl Strawberry, 26. Ron Swoboda, 21. David Wright, 14. Francisco Alvarez with 11. 10 home runs in 41 games. He's averaging a homer every 11.33 at-bats. And they're coming in some pretty clutch spots where it's not like the game's completely out of control and he's hitting it off some scrub. It seems like he's hitting them in big spots where it's like ties game, puts us ahead. So the moment's usually not too big for him. Yes, there have been times where it's like we have multiple guys on base, and it's like you can't strike out in that position, dude. Got to work on that. But good to see that after such a underwhelming start to his tenure, at least this season, for him to just be absolutely on fire and to continue to rake is just good news for the Mets. But it's not just offense with Alvarez. His defense has been something. Like I remember when there was an early misstep or mishap he had behind the dish early on, and I was like, I don't know. Like your offense can suffer, but your defense cannot. Like that's what you have to be. You have to nail that down if you want to be able to stay up here at this level. And he has the most defensive runs saved among catchers this season. It's William Contreras +6, Cam Gallagher +6, and then Francisco Alvarez +6. So, Albie, my man, nice to have. And Starling Marte, who I don't know if it's just his demeanor, his disposition. I don't know what it is about Starling Marte, but from an outsider's perspective, sometimes it seems like he's out of it. That's probably the wrong read. And I'm not good at reading people, so I don't know if you should be taking my word for anything. But on paper, the numbers are proving that he's balling. Over his last 29 games, he's batting .307, 14 runs, 1 double, 1 triple, 2 homers, 10 ribbies, 3 walks, 346 OBP. Safely reached base in 10 of the last 12, safely hit in 6 of his last 7. He has 18 stolen bases, which matches his total from last year and has him tied for third in the National League. So, there was a sequence in, I think it was the 5-1 game against the Pirates, where it's like that was a sequence from the 2022 season, where it's Marte gets on base, steals second, gets moved over to third, and then scores on a whatever. It just seems like that's the kind of sequence that we're so used to in 2022 that we have not seen in 2023. I know he had a really bad play in the outfield, either against the Pirates or the Braves, where it's just like, I think it was the Braves, and it was just like that. I mean, you're like a veteran. There are some at bats where he's just waving at the ball and he's putting out some nasty, like really ugly swings. And it's just like, is he just not seeing the ball? But then you look at his statistics and you're like, oh, well, he's performing. And then he actually got a day of rest today, Sunday. But so offensively, in terms of, we're looking at the hitters, the batting, like we were very down on the corner outfielders for a while. It was, Canna and Marte, they're not really playing up to what they were doing in 2022, and they're really hurting us. And now Canna had a great series against the Phillies, and then had a pretty good game against the Pirates. Marte's been playing better. So where is it offensively that we're getting let down? The loss of Alonso obviously is going to put a dent in our production, but McNeil, who had a home run today in the series finale against the Pirates, that was his first home run since May 1st and his third of the season. And he did have a double, I think, on Friday night. And extra base hits were an issue, where it's like he's slapping the ball and getting hits. And, it'd be nice to get a couple more doubles, This is going to sound friggin' obvious, but small ball is tough. Small ball is fucking hard. To move base to base, station to station, and score runs is hard. Anyone that is able to do that and succeed and win, God bless you. Because I don't know that that's like typically the recipe for success. And I know that we did it last year, but I don't know that we can duplicate it this year and replicate it this year. Like you can see, I forget what it was, but it was like double, hit him over, sack fly. Or double, one. So in 2 hits, you got to run. Versus 2 singles, it's like you got a guy in first and second, and then the guy hits into a double play. And it's like, so yeah, more extra base hits, please. You know, even Nimmo, for him having the highest batting average on the team, is not necessarily slugging. Like that grand slam was huge and awesome, but he has not been hitting a lot of home runs, and I don't know that he's been hitting a lot of doubles. Even though he's had a, I think he leads the team in triples. I don't know that he's hitting a lot of doubles. Like Canna feels like a double machine. Like that's kind of where he is, where his wheelhouse is, his sweet spot is hitting doubles. You know, we're just not a lot of extra base hits. Doubles. They're so huge, and it makes life easier. It really does. Double, run. Single, man on first and second, and then we gotta figure it out. Like hopefully someone comes through again. You know, and the odds are not in our favor. You know, it's like the friggin' Hunger Games. So, yeah. Speaking of Pete, most home runs in Mets history. He's now 5th on the list behind Hojo. He's still got I don't know that he might catch Hojo this season. I don't know. He's got 22. He's out for a month. 22 through 60 some odd games, 160. He could catch Hojo by the end of this season. If not this season, at the beginning of next season, he should be able to surpass Hojo. And then Piazza's next on the list at 220. Alonso's right now at 168, so he's less than 30 away from Hojo. I think he's like 24 home runs. So yeah, he could catch Hojo this season. And then he'd probably catch Piazza next year. Knock on wood. And then I don't know if he'll catch Wright or Strawberry, but here's hoping. And then the rumors going around, I guess Carlos Baerga posted something on Instagram saying the Mets are going to call up Ronnie Mauricio this week. Ronnie Mauricio has been tearing the cover off the ball down in minor leagues. He did have an injury scare. Like he had a collision. There was something with his knee or his ankle or something. So that'll be interesting to see. I think the MRIs or the X-rays or whatever came back negative, so he should be good to go. We're now getting super crowded in the infield. And it's like if Mauricio comes up, I guess that means Guillorme goes back down. They have to option him again, I think. That seems like the most obvious move. And then I guess just play. It's a numbers game. Like it's the matchup game at that point. Like, all right, historically, who does Mauricio hit better against? You know, he's a shortstop who they moved to second base. So would you have, I don't know. I mean, it's champagne problems, right? It gives Buck more options. And again, I don't think Mauricio is going to come up and struggle that greatly. You know, I think both Beatty and Vientos, of the 3 kids, quote unquote, Beatty, Vientos, Alvarez, Vientos is struggling the most. And that's because people are saying he's not getting enough playing time, whatever. And he is now. And I don't know that he's really, he's still kind of whatever for me. Hitting the shit out of the ball. I mean, he hits it hard when he doesn't make contact. As does Tommy Pham. He's hitting the ball really hard. So I really do think that the offense will be okay. Obviously not as potent without Alonso, but